Yeah, I bring you good greetings today. I'm actually here to share with you what I think and my own point of view. So, and I believe you are to subscribe to what I'm saying. That's if you actually see there's actually sense in it. But believe me, there's actually a sense in every nonsense. So I'll be talking briefly on name, in which I believe that every one of us today actually have a name. Even though to the funniest part, your dog at home has a name. Yeah, true. Your dog has a name, in which you actually use it as a medium of identification for you to know that this is actually yours. So I got to know that every living thing today has a name. So, and the name actually serves as a medium of identification. Or nonetheless, name is actually a state at which you use to function at a function under the influence of an action to function. So every one of us today, we are created on purpose for a purpose. That is one of the major reasons why you're actually given a name. Apart from the identification part of it, I am created on purpose for a purpose. The same thing applicable to you. You are here not just as a result of a mistake, but a take to be taken yield of. So your life shouldn't be as a result of what every other person had thought about, but it should be determined on what you are being meant to be. You are created not just for the sake of creation, but you are created to make an impact here on life, or here on earth, So everyone here today, or everyone you see around, is also serving a purpose at which they are being created. But the only uniqueness in it, in everything you could see around you, is what each and every other individual could make use of it. Now, I am created for a purpose. Under if I know this is what I am meant to do. Because you don't know the full ability of a thing until you are able to maximize it to its full capability. So you won't be able to utilize what you have within you until you are able to know the full ability of that which you have within you. But the question is, have you discovered it, or have you found what you have within you? Your life shouldn't be determined as a result of what every other person had prescribed. You should be as what your creator had designed your life to be. You are created, not a mistake, as I said earlier, but so many people live their life as a result of what every other person had thought of. I'll give you a brief illustration. A friend of mine, we were both chatting, then he told me what was actually wrong with him when I saw him that he's actually been disturbed. Then he told me that now that he's through with his school, he came out as a musician because he studied music. Then the father actually lured him into coaching basketball because the father happens to be a basketballer. So then I now asked him that, how do you intend doing it? Because if I thought your father didn't even consider the fact that this is who you are and accept you for what you are and for who you are, then he won't have given that instant or trying to lure you into what he had eventually tried to do, or if he had succeeded in doing. But if at all is not considered about your own life, is he not considering the life of every other student or every other child you are going to be coaching? Because those children actually need a very good coach in order to inspire and to tutor them on the right path to follow. But if they didn't see the rightful person to take them in that area, so how do you intend them to become the best you could ever imagine? And again, it's even depriving you for becoming the real self of you. We shouldn't let our lives be determined by any other person. Then I use this medium to plead to parents. Please, if you have understand or you come to the comprehension that this is the ability of what your child possesses, please try as much as you can to let them maximize it to the highest fullest they could ever try to be, and be that encouraging force to let them be that which they are meant to be. A good example is the life of Ben Carson. Ben Carson happens to be the best dullard when he was in school, but today he actually become the best surgeon. He becoming the best surgeon is as a result of what the Creator had intended him to become, in as much as he is the creator in which the Creator had created to carry out a particular assignment. But back then, when he had failed he had failed severally, then his mother didn't look down on him that, Ben, you can't become something. But the mother keeps saying one particular statement in which to inspire the child to become great. And the statement with the mother do tell him mostly is that, Ben, you can do whatever any other person can do, only you can do it better. So whatever any other person can do that have the ability to do, you too can do it. But the only difference between you and every other person is that you can do it better than every other person you could see around you. And that changed his life totally. Then he started reading on a gradual process. Then today we celebrate him for what he had made out of his life. You shouldn't be tolerated but celebrated. But for you to be celebrated, you have to discover what your life is all about by asking yourself, why am I here? Why am I here on earth? What is the reason behind my existence? There's always an essence for every existence. And if you don't understand the essence of your existence, then there's nothing to talk about life in general. So you shouldn't live a normal life like every other person, but should live a unique life in which you are defined to live. Because he said something. He said, let's come together and reason. And he said, let's create man in our own image. But in creating you, he just didn't create you as a result of an accident, or he didn't create you as a mistake, but he created you on a take for you to behold. Because you have something within you that he can give humanity. The only question is, have you discovered it, or do you know what it is? Because if you don't know what a thing is all about, you cannot maximize it to its fullness. Your life is actually more than what you could ever think of presently. So you should think on what you could do with your life. But you won't do that until you understand what your life is all about. That's why I asked previously that, why are you created, and what is the reason behind your existence? You have to find out this so that you have to live a fruitful life. Then I'll leave you to this illustration or this imagination. Let's just think together. Now, imagine an Honda car with a Toyota car being designed by one person. Let's assume that it's only one manufacturer that manufactured Honda, and the same thing goes to the Toyota. So now the two cars can be regarded as vehicle. Me and you, we are human. The Honda, the Toyota, me, you, we are human. The two cars are actually what could be regarded as what vehicle. So, but the only difference between those two cars is that, one, their names are different. Two, is that the speed limit of each car differs. Let's say the Honda is designed to run 200 km per hour. Then the Toyota runs 300 km per hour. Then there's no how the Honda will run that will meet the Toyota, and there's no how fast it could ever become or reach that specific space that the Toyota can ever be. So what I can do is quite different from what you can do. What I possess as a gift is quite different from you. So you shouldn't imitate my own life. Why you are limiting yourself from being the rightful person you could ever become? Because the saying is, imitation is limitation. If you imitate people, then you are limiting yourself. You won't become that which you are meant to be. Your life is unique. Live it as such. Now, so many people have faced with a lot of troubles, a lot of challenges, a lot of problems. But believe me, the area at which you consider that you are being tortured, it's not that you are being tortured, you are actually being nurtured for the right future. So your life is actually different from every other person you see around you. But you won't be able to live it as such until you could define what it is. Look at the life of Joseph. Joseph was created to lead. He was designed as a leader right from his onset. So God revealed that to him during his dreams, Then he shared it with his father. Then the father had already seen what it's all about. Then he considered sharing the same thing with his brothers, and they understand beyond what he could think of. So they try not to let him come to the realization of what he thought or he had seen his life should be all about. But by so doing, they sold him into They sold him into slavery, and by so doing, they had, unknown to them, they actually sold him into the land of what? Manifestation of his glory. So those times you see that this thing is actually anyhow being a lot of troubles, a lot of here and there and problems here and there. It is not that they are just big, those things are just there. They are just there for you to see, or to bring out you to think of that which you actually have in you. Then by so doing, you bring out the best in you. So those problems are actually there to drain out the best in you. It is not actually a medium to derail you. So those days when Joseph was being sold into slavery, he was there facing a lot of troubles as such, but it was those medium for him to be trained. That is, he was nurtured for the right future, because by the time he became the prime minister, he was able to do what? To exhibit the potential, the fullness of that power to lead when he was actually a prime minister, and in which he did that successfully. But if he had not faced those challenges, he wouldn't be able to carry out that post or that gift of leadership effectively. So think on what your life should be about. But before you could do, you have to think right. And another thing is this: if you don't think, you will stink. It's a fact. If you don't think, you stink. And believe me, a man is retarded to his level of thinking, because like I do say, a man can only go as far as he thinks and not as far as he can. So you are retarded to the level of your thinking. So what are you thinking about? Do you want to think right, or you want to think wrong? I hope you are getting me. I hope you are following me. Now, the thing is now this: ask yourself what your life is all about. By so doing, you ask yourself, why am I created? What is the essence of my life? Believe me, Nelson Mandela won't be remembered for the cars he bought or the houses he built, but he will be remembered for the peace he brought to Africa and South Africa as a whole. So it is not about the duration, it's about the donation. So what are you ready to donate? And that which you are meant to donate is within you. What you just need to do is what? Search in down and find out what your life is all about. By so doing, coming to the realization of your purpose, you know your passion, then you come to understand that, oh, this is my gift, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. By so doing, when you get to understand them, you'll be able to maximize it to the fullness of it. But if you don't understand what it's all about, then how do you intend becoming that which you are destined to be? Remember, when there is a change of name, then comes a change of status. Remember in the life of Simon, when he was later changed to Peter, he later became what? A fisher of men and not a fisherman. So your life is actually different from every other person, but you tend to live your life like every other regular person you see on the street. So the same thing goes that someone else you see, because there's this very funny thing I noticed going on in our community. You tend to see Mr. A singing and he's getting well. Then you like, oh, music business is actually the best thing in town, then let me go into music. And by so doing, if you get into music and you end up not succeeding well, then you tend to push the blame on someone else. Then it's your great grandfather or your grandmother or any other person. But have you forgotten that your own life is unique? Your own life is different from every other person you could see, because you are destined for a unique destiny. But you won't maximize it until you know the real and the full ability of what it contains in it. Don't run every other person's race while you have your own to figure out. Then if you can't withstand the greatness, then you can't obtain the greatness. Stop complaining for you to obtain. So for you to obtain, you need to stop complaining. Then find why you are here, so that you'll be able to live your life to the fullest. Remember, you won't be hacked, you'll be judged according to what you've done. But you will be remembered under the influence of what you are able to drop to the existence of mankind, but which you can't do until you find out. But find it out so that you'll be able to maximize it to its fullest. Then I leave you with this question to ask yourself: what am I here for? It's a very simple question, but if you think deep, you actually see the real meaning in the question. Why am I here? What is actually the reason behind my life? Then why am I here? I remain your host, Mustafa Adeleke. Thanks for listening. Peace.